Hello everyone, today we are going to learn how to assign IP address to the interface, and we are going to use how to enable using the routing protocol, that is RIP. We'll have a small lab scenario. In this lab scenario we'll learn how to enable RIP. We'll take three routers, R1, R2 and R3, and there'll be switch connected to these three routers, and then a computer. In a very simple way we'll learn how to enable RIP. We'll take three routers now. With the help of Cisco Packet Tracer we'll learn how to use Cisco Packet Tracer. And now just click on this icon. It will show you the different kind of cables here, crossover, many kind of. We'll go for a serial. So from R1 we will, okay, in Cisco Packet Tracer we have to choose the interface. We have to open the router. We will go to the router main page. We have to physically configure router. I will show you this. We'll zoom in. Okay, before we configure the router we need to make sure we turn off the router. Cisco has used this just to make sure that you are aware of real world things and all. So we will use one serial cable here, and then make sure you turn on the router. Now we will go to CLI mode. Now you can see that the router was turned off, and now the IOS of the router, it was in a compressed form. It was decompressing. You could see here it was telling that it is decompressing. So now it's in dialog mode. Now we don't require dialog mode here in CCNA. We are going to learn how to use commands and all in CLI mode. So I'm going to say no and get into the normal mode of the router. Now there are three modes in the router: user mode, privilege mode and global configuration mode. Now I'm in user mode. Now how to go to privilege mode? I'm just going to type enable. Normally EN is enough, but just to know what exactly I'm typing, just enable. And now I'm going to the third stage. It's very easy to understand. User mode, you have limited access in this mode. Privilege mode, you have privilege to see all the configuration of the router. Now I'm going to go to configuration mode, where I'm going to type configure terminal. Here it clearly says that you're going to configure in this router. In this stage you can configure the commands in this router. So I've shown you the three modes, which is going to help you how to assign the IP address. Now I'm going to connect the links. Before I connect the links, I could see that in router 1 I had inserted the serial port. So similarly I have to do in R2 as well. So before I go ahead and do that, I need to turn off the router. Then I go to this option, which will give me one serial port. I drag and drop it and make sure I turn on the router. As soon as I turn on, you could see the IOS is decompressing. Now similarly we'll go to router 2 or router 3. I will let you know how to name the router in Cisco Packet Tracer. We don't want to be in dialog mode, and we are going to CLI mode. Before that we need to physically configure the router. Before that we turn off, drag and drop, and I take one serial cable. Before you could see when it was only fast Ethernet. Now you could see there was a serial port. I select it. I select the serial port. You remember I had chosen two ports here, just because I need to connect to two routers in this router. So now I go to double click on router I go to R0. In this you can see it's telling R0. So what I have to do is to change the host name. I need to type host name space R1. But in packet tracer it doesn't change, so just go to configuration option and there you need to change R1 so that you don't get confused. This option is not there in the real world, real routers. It's only applicable in Cisco packet tracer. So I go to R1 and I type R2 so that I don't get confused. The command in real router to change the router name is, I'm in user mode, I go to privilege mode. The Cisco routers are not case sensitive, sometimes it is. Then I go to configuration mode, then I type host name as R3. See, the host name is changed, but here it's not changed. As I told, it's only in packet tracer. I need to change it to R3. Okay, so you see all the three routers is on, and you could see that they are red in color. It says, clearly says, the interface is in shutdown. The interface is not on. Normally by default Cisco routers will be in shutdown mode, so I need to go to the interface and manually say that turn on. So how do I do that? So before we go ahead and do that, as I showed this scenario that we are going to assign the IP address. So I go to R1, I'm going to assign 192.168.2.0/24, and even here 192.168.4./24. So here it is 3.0/24. So I don't want you all to get confused, so let's take and make a note of it. Here I need to type 192.168.2.0/24. Okay, so you can see the IP address which is going to be assigned to these interfaces. So let's go ahead and take switches. Just what I have to do is drag and drop, and we'll take computers. We'll connect them. We're gonna, from router to switch, we're gonna use straight through cable. Okay, now we'll get into R1 and we'll learn how to assign IP address. Now, as I told, I have to go to configuration mode to assign IP address. Okay, now you see here it is serial 0/0, fast Ethernet 0/1. So I am in R1 router. So I go to Google configuration mode, I type interface. See, I just type INT and press tab. It will help me to go further. No need to type interface completely. Interface, the Cisco routers is smart enough to identify by 3 letters or 4 letters. Just press tab, it will help you further. So after that you type serial, press tab to show you serial 0/0. Then I'm gonna add IP at 192.168.2. I'll give 1 space. It's subnetted /24. It's class 3. So I'm gonna put the subnet mask, and here we go. Here I need to tell no shut. See, just observe. Here you see the red light, it says the port is shut down, and here I put no shut. As soon as I put no shut, the port will go from down to up state. Now I exit out of it. Now again I go to interface, fast Ethernet 0/0 IP at, let's see which network to give over here. It is 192.168.1.1, 192.168.1.1. No shit, and exit. Similarly, I go to R2. I'm in CLI mode, I'm in enable mode, and I go to configuration mode. Then I tap interface, serial 0/0 IP at 192.168.2.2, 255.255.255.0. I made a mistake. See, the Cisco router is smart enough to help you out with the mistakes what you do. No shit, exit. Can you see here that it was red in color, now it turned to green? It clearly indicates that it's communicating. Now we are going to R3. I will assign the IP address in a similar way. Let me pause the recording and assign the IP address. Here we go. I've assigned the IP address for all the three routers. It's a similar way you assign the router's IP address as I showed in R1 and a part of R2. So let's learn how to assign IP address in a computer. So I just double click on the computer, go to desktop, then I go to IP address. So let me make a note of the IP address which I assigned here. It's 192.168.1.1. /24. Don't worry about the /24. You will learn soon subnetting. In subnetting, I'll teach you in a very simple way how subnetting is. You know how that /24 is calculated. So it's 192.168.5.0/24. Here, as you know, it is /3. Here how I have assigned is based on the router I have given 1.1 network. Because it's R1, so I gave 1. Don't get confused. With this R2 I gave 2, it's R3 I gave 3 here after 5.0. So this comes under same network, so let me give this PC as R4 or something. So let me go to the PC1. So let me assign the IP address 192.168. Let me give it as 1.2. Okay, so that I don't get confused, I'll change the name of the PC. It is 192.168.1.2. Okay, so what will be the default gateway? So see, this is the gate, so that it is gonna go out of the router to this fast Ethernet interface. Let's go to the R1 and see what is the default gateway. Show IP interface brief. So the fast Ethernet IP address is 1.1. So the default gateway is 1.1. So it's 192.168.1.1. That's it. So this is assigned. So I go to PC2. I do the similar way. Go to desktop. So 3.1 will work. No, why it's 3.2? Because in fast Ethernet I've given 3.2. We'll change the PC name so that I don't get confused. We will assign this one as 192.168.5.1. We'll give in a simple way so that you remember the IP address 192.168.5.1. So what will be the gateway? Gateway is fast Ethernet IP address. So 192.168.5.3. Okay, we have assigned the IP address. So here we'll learn how to enable RIP with the help of RIP. Okay, why we need RIP? First we'll learn why we need RIP. What is the work of RIP here? We have assigned the IP address, the routers are working fine, there is a connectivity. So why exactly we need a routing protocol? So I'm in this computer 1. I'm going to command prompt. I try and ping 192.168.5.1. It doesn't ping because there is no reachability. It doesn't know how to reach this computer. It doesn't know the path. Even though it's connected, even though like physically they are connected, it doesn't know the path to reach this computer. So with the help of the routing protocol like RIP or EIGRP, it's going to help you to find the path to reach the destination. So let's learn how to enable RIP. I'm going to R1. It's very simple. Before you enable the routing protocol, just go and put this command show IP interface brief and then go to configuration mode. Just type router RIP, enter. Just you need to tap this network. Just advertise the network which is connected to your router, that is 192.168. Before we go and do that, you need to learn about, before I go and teach you the version 2 and version 1 of RIP. Better have a glance about what is the difference between the RIP version 1 and version 2. I'm sure in next video I'm going to explain what is the difference between RIP version 1 and version 2, but now time being I'll just enable version 2 here so that it will not going to affect us in any, because this network is subnetted, so it's not gonna screw the network. So let's go ahead and enable RIP router. Sorry, it should be in configuration mode. Router RIP. As I told, don't worry about version. It's version 2. I will let you know in the future what is version 1 and version 2. So 192.168.1.0, and another network is network 192.168.2.0. I just exit out of it. Now I'm going to I'm advertising the network which is connected to me. I'm not doing a static route. Even in future I'm going to tell you what is static route. In R1 I'm just advertising which is connected to me. Now I'm going to R2 and I'm going to advertise which is connected to me. So before that it's very simple. I'm just going to put show IP interface brief. So I go to configuration mode, then router RIP version 2 192.160, sorry, network 192.168.3.0, network 2.0, and 4.0, and exit out of it. Same thing I'm going to do it in R3, router RIP version 2, network. Okay, see, now what I did is, before I go and do, I didn't type show IP interface brief. So see, I have to think about it, which network is connected to me. Now in Cisco Packet Tracer you can see and just type, but in real world it's not the way it works. So still, network 192.168.4.0 and network 192.168.5.0, exit out of it. So now it's gonna be like magic. Now I'm gonna show IP interface brief, so show IP route. See, you could see all the network which is in this scenario. You can see 192.168.1.0, 1.2, sorry, 68, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, everything is there. Before I go ahead, I showed you that in PC1 I couldn't communicate to this PC, that is 192.168.5.1. Now I will show the same thing what I did last time. So let's see whether it pings. It's fine if the first packet is lost because of ARP request. So see, the other packets are successfully reached. See, for the second time when you try and ping, it works. Now I go to R2 and try and ping both R1 and R3. I'm in this computer. I go to command prompt and I type ping 192.168.1.2. the first packet will be lost as it's normal because of ARP request. And now I go ahead and ping the R3's PC, that is 192.168.5.1. Now it clearly says that there is nothing difficult to enable RIP. With the help of RIP, there is like the path has been decided. So this is a very easiest way and the simplest way of learning how to enable RIP and how to assign the IP address. Hope so I come up with the next video about the static route and how to enable the static route, OSPF and RIP in a simplest way. See you in the next video. Bye bye.